Hey guys, thanks for joining. We're going to be talking about AI agents today. Not sure what that is? Stick around. You're going to learn a lot in 45 minutes. We're continuing our series on AI Agent Academy. "2026 is all the rave about agents."
All I use anymore.
Say that again, yeah, Johnny?
It's all I use anymore. I've shifted. I'm away from. I don't go to the large language models anymore. I spend my time talking to agents. If I need information from a large language model, I tell the agent to go get it.
Yep.
I'm sticking with it.
Here we go.
Welcome to Season 9 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead after-school program. Here is the weekly lineup. Mondays, we build the future in the AI Agent Academy. Tuesdays, witness the vocal gauntlet in the TTS Showdown. Wednesdays, protect your identity and family in AI Safety 101. Thursdays, we uncover the secret tools in hidden AI gems, appetizers. Fridays, we explore the what-if files in the AI Singularity. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome back to Airhead Institute. Today is Monday, February 16th, which means we are kicking off another episode of AI Agentic Academy. This is Season 9, Episode 3. Folks, for the last 2 weeks, we've been teaching you how to talk to AI. We've taught you how to make it read 6,000 pages. We've taught you how to make it browse the web. But today we stop all the talking and we start the building. You know, people always tell me, Johnny, I have this $1 million app idea, but I don't know a single line of code. Well, as of this morning, that excuse is officially dead. We're going to show you how to build a fully functional app just by speaking English or any other language. Speaking of speaking, I walked in today and found AI Junior shouting at his laptop again. I thought he was on a call, but he was actually yelling at a database. He said, I'm trying to convince the API to accept my emotional baggage as a valid variable. I don't think it worked, but he did manage to automate his therapy appointments. Junior, what about all that?
Actually, AI Johnny, I was trying to debug a race condition by explaining it out loud. It's called rubber duck debugging. You guys go look it up if you want to, go down a rabbit hole. All right, welcome to class, everyone. This is an immersive class. Imagine you've been dropped into Paris. Day 1, you're pointing to a baguette and praying. By day 30, you're arguing with the waiter about a vintage bottle of wine. This is what this month is. We are dropping you into the land of software engineering with AI agents. By the end of February, you'll be fluent in deployment, iterations, and AI agents. So if you're on Zoom, unmute and go ahead and ask your questions. This is a live class. If you're on the socials, type them now. There is about a 30-second delay. Today, we're covering natural language programming. So we're moving from coding, where we write syntax, and directing, where you tell the agent what you want, and it writes the actual syntax. AI Johnny?
Oh, you went to Gemini Bridge?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we start building the next Facebook, we went straight to our official large language model of the month, the one and only Google Gemini. We treat Gemini like our high-level consultants here. We asked Gemini one specific question today. What is the single most mind-blowing fact about Replit, the agent, right now?
Yep. And Gemini actually said it said Gemini didn't disappoint. It pulled out this stat. It says in 2025, Replit Agent users generated over 2 million functional apps. But here's the kicker: 40% of those apps were built by people who never written one single line of code in their lives. It effectively democratized, I can't pronounce that word, software engineering overnight. There you go. Thank you, AI Johnny. So yeah, hello, Upper Moon. Hey, Shauna. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Mr. Kamala. Everybody, thanks for joining.
Let's talk about that 40% of those apps that were built by people who had never written a line of code. So you're telling me almost half the people building apps today aren't even developers?
You're
claim. Fire up the screen and let's see if we can add to that number today.
You're absolutely right, AI Johnny. So again, welcome everyone. What we're gonna do is we're gonna show you guys something really, really cool what we've built. So look, we have this application here called Replit. And Replit, if you guys want to follow along, here is a link to Replit in the actual chat. We actually pushed it out. So you guys can actually sign up. We're not gonna talk about the features and everything that actually can be done in Replit, but we wanted to show you what can be done. So we actually have our Replit console here, and what we're going to do is we're going to prove that it's a speaking natural language. We can actually create an app. So we have a request from one of our viewers. Her name is Shauna. Shauna, thanks for joining. Shauna runs a Bible study that's actually Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and she wants an app for her group, right? So because we actually help produce Shauna's Bible study every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we actually said no big deal. We can actually try and show that on the show. So we actually have a prompt here. So we're going to be building Johnny, did something change on the prompt?
On the prompt?
Yeah. Nope, didn't. My fault. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop in the actual prompt here. So we're going to build a mobile-friendly web app called Shauna's Daily Word. It should display a new Bible verse every day. The key requirement, the target audiences are seniors, so please use very large font, high contrast sensor font for readability. Include a simple share to WhatsApp button at the bottom. Make the background soft, calming cream color. So we're going to just go ahead and hit the start button here. And by doing that, there's some magic's going to happen at the same time. The magic is the following. If you watch the screen, it's now entering the planning phase. Now, the planning phase is just like if you were to give it to a project manager. That project manager will be looking at your requirement, understanding it, breaking it down into small tasks, and then giving it to human engineers to say, I can build this. Let me go figure out how to build it. But there's no humans involved here. These are all just agents. So behind the scenes, it's actually handing it off to an agent and saying, I'm going to go install the actual packages. I'm going to go set up the servers. I'm going to go ahead and build out the actual software and look at the requirements. And then as it's actually building it, you'll see it's going on here. It's figuring out, it's searching the web. It's generating a preview, and all of that is happening with a bunch of agents, autonomous AI that's actually working on your requirements behind the scenes. It's actually going ahead and creating an AI agent that actually does the user interface that actually says, I wanted a cream color. It makes it look pretty. It actually looks at a security expert agent to be able to pull in what's the best practices. All of that is doing behind the scenes, and it's happening autonomously. While it's actually going, AI Johnny, what do you think about that?
Well, I'll comment on the preview when I see the preview, but I did put something in the comments about some code that I wrote just this week using only my voice. You know about both of these. I have a speakers bureau, and I'm pitching a road safety app, both of which happened exactly like this. And while this is brand new, meaning I'm brand new to it, and I'm already developing workable website apps. You're building I'm guessing, a responsive app that works on a laptop or a phone, correct?
Correct.
It does this daily wire. Yeah, you'll come up with ideas all the time. The beautiful thing about the fact that you can write code by just asking for it and cutting out the middleman, which was always you had to call a website developer, or you had to always call a programmer, or you had to call a full stack developer. You don't necessarily need to do that anymore. You just go to your agentic AI, tell them what you want. It may ask you some questions. You answer those questions. It's a full English dialogue, and in the end, it'll just go off and build the code. And of course, it builds the code. What is it? 100x, 1,000x faster than a human being could do it?
You're so right, yeah, Johnny. The number is astronomically fast, and it's just more power you put to it, the faster you can actually churn out the code. So we actually have the data coming back now. So let me actually just go ahead and share my screen. So check this out, guys. So it actually came back with this. Now I'm gonna actually show what it does. So you see here it says Shauna Bible Study. I actually have this one because it's actually working on this, and oh, there you go. It actually came back. All right, so here is the actual app it built. It says Shauna's Daily Word, for Monday, February 16th. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people of his own, so that you may proclaim the virtues of the one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That's 1 Peter 2:9. And you can actually hit share on WhatsApp. And if you actually hit it, it will actually go ahead and try to share it on WhatsApp. Now, I'm on a computer now. I don't necessarily have anything, and I don't want to open up WhatsApp on the thing, but it actually coded the requirements exactly as I expected, which is pretty cool.
Did
What do you
it do
think about?
more than what you asked it to do? Is there a hamburger menu that has an about and a contact?
No, no, no. This is just an app, and it's just it told me exactly what I wanted. So it actually
Okay.
nailed it 100%. In that was less than the show has been going on now for about 8 minutes, so it nailed it in about 10 minutes, under 10 minutes.
So you've developed a full scale working responsive app that works on any device, mobile device, laptop, and you've saved some of our souls all in 8 minutes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. No, we did actually build another one just in case something happened live. So I want to show you just the edits that I made on this one. So I gave it a title here. I gave it a title, Shauna's Bible Study, right? It actually showed it. I like dark mode. So here itself, we put up a dark mode version of the actual app. Shauna's actually asking, can I use that in the chat? Definitely you can, Shauna, but we definitely need to do a little bit more polish on that first. But I love, 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 love where this is going. Now, if you actually look here, this one is dark mode. It actually says, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That's from Philippians 4:13. It's using the ESV Bible, which is what Shauna standardized on at Shauna's Bible Study. And you can have this share verse button, copy verse. So I added a little bit more features. I even added back to daily verse, new random verse. If I click this button, I was able to actually get a new verse. I can click it again, right? And it's all there, which is actually pretty cool. I'm actually really impressed how fast we're able to get this up and running with just a few words. Yeah, Johnny.
I like it. It's a verse reading tool. I'd like a verse memorization tool. Get all that stuff stuck in my brain.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I want to be able to pull from the word when I'm standing at the pearly gates trying to justify and defend my life.
That's so true, so true, so true. All right, yeah, Johnny, we're going to get to the word of the day. But for all the people who are actually watching live and actually on the Zoom call, this is an immersive class. So drop your questions in. If you're on the Zoom call, ask your question and, just go ahead. We're going to go into a deep dive of this tool and what's really happening behind the scenes so you guys can understand what agents are and what it's really doing because it looks like magic, right? Yeah, Johnny?
Yep, it's literally formatted the text exactly for seniors without you touching a font setting. The share to WhatsApp button usually takes a developer like 3 hours to figure out the API. It did it in milliseconds. And Shauna just saved $5,000 on a freelance developer. So, yeah, got my jaw dropped. And let's just keep learning the lingo.
Yep.
You want to do a word of the day?
Yes, please.
Today's word of the day is NLP, Natural Language Programming. It's a paradigm where the user instructs the computer using normal human speech, English, Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, instead of formal syntax, Python or Java or whatever. And AI translates the intent into executable code. So this just pretty much wipes out my entire college career, but hey, I got stuff to do. Right? You can now code in English. You don't have to know how to use BASIC or Fortran or Visual C++. You just need to know how to speak, and the AI agent will write software for you, and it will do it in seconds. It will amaze people. I will be very surprised if Phil didn't roll out his very first software program by this time next week.
I see Phil in the actual chat. Shout out to Phil. Thank you again to Phil for joining us. I know we actually have a few software engineers on the call. I'm actually also a software engineer for 21 years, AI Johnny, and being able to work on many different applications, I find this technology quite amazing. So we're showing a visual on the screen of a person on the left actually speaking just natural language, and then on the right you can actually see the data centers being created with the chips and everything. So we're turning natural language into code. And if you look at the stat that Gemini mentioned, 40% of people who actually built an app did not know how to code. So if you're very, very worried about how to do this, don't be afraid. We're going to drop the link to Replit again. We are not actually sponsored by Replit. We'd love to get a sponsorship from Replit, but we're going to drop the link for Replit for those who actually just joined, who wants to actually try it on their own. There is a free trial. Again, we're not partnered with them. Hey, Princess Ally. Thanks for joining. So definitely want to try it. Now, hear this. So you're spot on, AI Johnny. Think of the translator like the UN. You speak in English, the translator speaks computer, and in the past, you had to have a translator, right? You had to have a project manager or a technical project manager or some product owner that you would know that you can say, hey, let me take that requirement and give it to a technical person. And then that technical person had to know where exactly the semicolons went and the parentheses went, or you get a whole bunch of errors. It's just really, really frustrating, especially if you're non-technical. So the agent handles everything, the translation from the human natural language into the actual logic and the semicolons. So it removes the need for a traditional engineer to actually do everything, and the agent's just actually handling everything for that person. So I think it's rather amazing and where we are.
At the beginning of this session, I had talked about how people are always coming up to me telling me they have great ideas for an app. So what I'm saying is, don't come up to me and tell me that you have a great idea for an app. Go to Replit and tell it you have a great idea for an app. And by the time you're done explaining the app, Replit will turn it into an app, literally seconds later. So if anybody here, even on the streaming or in the Zoom call, wants to put the great idea for an app that they've had sitting in their coffers for the last 10 years, go ahead and punch it into the chat. Just as quick as a major developer could create it, you can create it too. I've got great ideas for apps that I never bothered to do because I'm like, I don't have time for that. But of course I have time for it now because I just say it and it's done. It's literally like I Dream of Genie. It's crazy. It's like magic.
Yep. All right, yeah, Johnny. So one of the things we want to teach here is we want to teach you guys the concepts. Now, the concepts itself is more important than the tools. And we stress that at Airhead Institute because the tools will evolve and they will go away. So once you actually understand the concepts, so learning AI agent is the thing that you need to learn. Don't worry specifically about Replit because there's tons of AI agent coding software that's out there. So that's just the one we actually picked today. There is many others. So let's actually peel back the onion a little bit and actually go behind the scenes and see what's happening. So if you actually understand what's really happening is this is actually a running application. The agent created a front end, a user interface. It's a thing that you actually see. So it's a thing that most people interact with. They see buttons on the screen or they see a nice, user interface, whatever it is, that's the front end. The agent also created the back end. It's a thing that you don't see. That's the logic. And that's the things that, when you click the button that says share to WhatsApp, it actually has to have a plumbing to send that electronically to WhatsApp, right? So let's say, for example, we showed this to Shauna. I know Shauna's on the call right now, but let's say, for example, we showed this to Shauna and Shauna says, you know what? I love this, guys. So let's bring this up. And when we actually showed her, she says, you know what? I really don't like the color. The color looks almost exactly like WhatsApp, but I want to be able to launch to many other different platforms, not only WhatsApp, right? So because it's actually looking WhatsApp, she says, hey, I want you to change the color. So normally in the old days, we'd have to have an engineer go in and find the CSS file. That's called a cascading style sheets. Again, remember, don't try to get caught up in the details. This is an immersive class. Every single day, you'll pick up 1 or 2 or 3 words. Eventually, you'll learn over time, and you'll eventually just be speaking fluently in AI. So don't necessarily worry too much about not understanding everything that I say. So a technical person would have to go find the CSS file, go find the hex code, and then go change it. But look what I'm actually going to do now. So I'm going to say the cream. So I'm going to give it Shauna's feedback. So let's say, for example, Shauna said, you know what? The cream background is a bit too sleepy. Change the background to a gradient of morning sky blue to white. Also add a random verse button so that I don't have to wait 24 hours for a new one, right? Also, I'm going to say add update the title to be Shauna's Bible Study. Okay, now just in natural English, just like that, I'm going to hit the send button and it's going to start thinking. So the agents, remember, these aren't human beings, but what I'm trying to give an analogy, what would normally happen. You would normally, Shauna would give that request to a project manager. That project manager would start to think, write up the requirements, and then if you notice here, on the left-hand side, the agent is actually thinking, it says, I'll make the changes, gradient background, random verses, and the title update. Let me read the remaining files I need first. So it's actually thought about 3 actions. So it broke it down into 3 tasks. Then it says, now I have the full context. Let me make all the changes in parallel. The backend, random verse endpoint, the front end, gradient title, and random button. And guess what? Normally, in the real world, this will be happening over days, right? You'd have this meeting, all the engineers will actually meet together. They would actually discuss how long it might take. They would estimate it. Then the product manager or product owner or the project manager would actually say, is this worth doing? Then they would say, if it's worth doing, is the effort worth involved? And they would either kill it or they would actually say, you know what, we'll go ahead and do it. Then once they hand it over to the engineers will build it. It will take, oh, look at that. Nice. It's working. It would actually work on it, find out if it can become done. It might take 2 or 3 days. Then they turn it over to the quality assurance people. They would test it. And then eventually they would deploy it out and then show it to Sean again. This would take usually sometimes weeks of this development cycle. Now, if you guys look what's happening.
It's pretty amazing that you have to explain all that. This may be the last time that explanations like that have to be delivered. It's like a guy that was around in the year 0 trying to explain how great a lighter is. Because in order to build a fire, we had to go and get a stick and we had to rub it together and we had to build a little kindling and all that stuff. And most people don't even know that that's how that we used to build fires. They go, you just get a lighter. You just get a lighter. And so what you're saying is, what I think is so amazing about these code generators is they always write code that works the first time. Think about when a human being writes code, you and me, I don't care who you are, Elon Musk, you write the code, you compile it, it's got bugs. You wrote bad syntax. You put the syntax in wrong, or you built it wrong, or you didn't think it through. And so you think about how much time you spend without even seeing any output, because before it gets to the output, it delivers an error in the compilation stage. You spend hours, sometimes days, just trying to debug your code. AI writes bug-free code. It speaks perfect code like it speaks perfect English out of Grok.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. There's going to be billions of software applications coming out in the next few years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, AI Johnny. So if you actually see the agent right now, it actually made the changes. And what it's doing is it's saying, I'm starting to test. Let me make this a little bit bigger for folks to see, because it's actually rather impressive what's going on. So if you see here, I opened up the Bible Study app on the mobile size screen and everything looks great. Because before it actually says, when it was thinking, it says, I'm going to be testing the app, right? It actually says testing the app. I'm about to click today's verse button, which should hide it and bring it back the original daily verse, and then check to make sure. So it's actually testing the app to make sure it doesn't break based on the requirements. And it's actually doing an update right now saying, hey, you know what? I updated the title to Sean's Bible Study. The random verse button is there. Tap it anytime to get a new verse. So let's go ahead and go see what it actually got. So let's see, we have the blue Shauna's Bible Study background. We actually have the verse, and then it now has a random verse button. So let's click it, and let's see what it brought. It actually changed it. It's now, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but but of power and love and self-control. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. So yeah, it's actually working. And you can actually go back to today's verse. It is amazing how it even caught additional things that what if I want to go back to today's verse, which is actually pretty amazing. All right, AI Johnny, we're actually about to actually go a little bit deeper. Just want to ask anybody, does anybody have any questions so far on what they're seeing, on what we're using natural language with AI? We're actually handing off our requirements to AI agents and what agents are actually doing behind the scenes for us with our hands off the keyboard, and it's actually building anything that we actually ask.
Are you going under the hood, brother?
Say that, AI Johnny?
Are you going under the hood? Have we done the self-healing code yet?
No, we haven't actually gotten that yet.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, AI Johnny.
Well, I'm just here to root you on, brother. We're starting to get into the nitty-gritty stuff, and I've been out of programming a lot longer than you have. Although I'm back in the game right now.
Definitely.
I can't imagine thinking of an application and then kicking myself because, oh man, I really haven't stayed with it, and I'm really not a good programmer. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about, if you don't mind me doing a sidebar. Years ago, I wrote an application that did like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Are you familiar with what that is?
Yeah,
Type in the name of any actor or actress, and it'll link them. This guy was in this movie with this guy, and this guy was in this movie with this girl, and this girl was in, Footloose with Kevin Bacon. Anybody linked to Kevin Bacon? So I'm wondering, and that's a pretty complex. It was a pretty complex thing. It took me months to write. I'm wondering if you went to a Replit or a Manus or any one of these AI agents and described what you wanted to do. I want to do a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but I want to do it for athletes, or I want to do it for, I don't know, professional speakers, or any aggregate team type thing that can connect together. I wonder if it would build that thing in an hour, or if it would have to ask a ton of questions about what kind of a database you want and what kind of response time. The thing you built, it asked you no questions. It just went ahead and did it. But
yeah.
most of the time in an application development, there's some interaction between the developer, which in this case is Replit, and the client who kind of has a vision for what he wants. There's usually some back and forth. And so I'm thinking that it's coming later in the show, or maybe it's not coming at all. That's our more advanced class.
Yeah, so if you actually see here, let me actually shrink this down, because I know a lot of people actually may have these technical questions or may even get lost. So behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that actually get assumed for you. So let me give you guys an example. If you guys actually want your kitchen to be redone, right? Usually you would say, I have a budget of, let's say, for example, $10, $15, $20,000 to get your kitchen redone. Now, because you want to get your kitchen redone, usually the contractor that you hire almost always says, hey, well, you have your budget. What kind of faucet would you like? What type of, finish would you like? What kind of color? What kind of countertops would you like, right? And usually those decisions are brought to the homeowner who's doing their kitchen over. Now, because these decisions are being given, these decisions make sense to the homeowner because the homeowner understands those specific requirements, right? They know what the colors look like, they know the feel of the actual finish, all those things. But what you notice is that the contractor never brings you, should I be using galvanized pipe, PVC pipe, or should I be using lead pipes, right? The contractor doesn't bring you those questions. And the reason why the contractor doesn't bring those questions is because those are what the contractor was hired for, to be able to give their best recommendation. So let me show you a little bit behind the scenes what's actually happening. When AI Johnny actually asked, hey, didn't I actually ask these questions about the database? If you see here, the database itself is, let me go to here, is actually up here. So if you see here, it actually pulled in a database. It actually pulled in a bunch of things, and it made some technical decisions without confusing the user. So we don't necessarily want to confuse the user asking them, should you have a PVC pipe? Should it be 3/4 of an inch, or should it be a 1-inch pipe, or is it a 3-inch pipe? It doesn't really matter, right? So the point is, all these things are abstracted from the non-technical user. So let's go into the level 2 deep dive. So what happens is, I want you guys to stick with me here. So this thing is usually in a loop, right? So the loop, most software engineers or most people would actually get frustrating at this part. The reason being is because when a contractor asks you about your kitchen, it's usually okay. I know I want bronze version or a chrome or a nickel plated version of the faucet. But when you're actually building something with a software engineer, you have to go through this plan, fix, plan, fix, plan, fix, plan, fix iterations hundreds, if not thousands of times, because the moment you make a change, things break. So just stick with me here, guys. So it fixes its own code, right? This process is called what's known as a reflection loop, and AI is really, really good at this. So when I had asked AI to give me the random button, the AI agent didn't just paste code. So this random button here that we actually added and we actually built, Abdul, thanks for joining. This random verse button here that we actually built, the AI agent didn't just put in just random code. It actually wrote the code. And this is the magic part. It ran a test on itself. So remember that I showed you guys where it actually said, I'm testing code. Let me bring it up on the side so you guys can see. Come on. Nope. Not being, oh, I need to zoom out. And then hopefully I can actually get it back. All right, I can't. All right, so what happens is it was actually testing the code. So what the AI agent is actually doing is going through this loop. And it's actually saying, did I break the code? Now, code is very, very brittle because it's actually machine specific. So it actually asked, did I break the app? Now, if you guys remembered, I did actually see the code broke. It actually showed some red errors on the screen while it was actually building it. And then it actually went ahead and fixed it. So this is called self-healing code, right? So it's actually healing itself by actually looking at it, making the change, and then if it breaks it, it actually fixes it, and then it actually edits their typos or the syntax error, and then makes it better. So that's what it's actually doing. So Abdul is actually chiming in. Love that, Abdul. Let me see what Abdul's saying. CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Yes, yes, Abdul. This is actually almost as if it's a CI/CD pipeline, but it's not actually fully deploying it because you have to actually hit a button to deploy. But thanks, Abdul, for that bit of feedback. All right, AI
The
Johnny.
only difference between deploying and not a deployable thing and a non-deployable thing is you have to hit a button on one and not on the other.
Yeah, for continuous deployment, automatically you just merge your code and it automatically gets shipped out after it passes a bunch of tests. So it's actually pretty impressive.
Jeez. How long before I can just tell a prompt to build me a helicopter? I feel like flying away.
You know what, AI Johnny? I think that day is only about 10 years away. I think that's possible. 10 years away. All right. So
Materials, like your 3D printer is going to need the material. Anyway, we're sidebarring. Go back to what you were doing.
all right. AI Johnny, let's do the under the hood now.
Okay. So ready, put your lab coats on. This is the part where you lose me. Actually, I've been following along pretty good. Warning
Love
to
it.
the audience, Junior's a nerd. The answer to this next question is for the advanced builders. So technically, what really happens if I ask for something impossible? Does it just guess?
All right. So really, really, really great question. So AI agents are built on large language models. No, large language models or LLMs, if you're joining us for the first time, is what you've been using for the past year, 2, 3 years, if you're actually lucky when you actually started when ChatGPT one of the first versions came out. So with ChatGPT, that large language model, it actually has, Shauna says, yep, Junior is a nerd. Thank you, Shauna. All right. So yeah, so with these large language models, they have something called a context window or context size. So because their context size is not unlimited, they have to actually do something with that context size and what's known as a dependency graph. No, what's really happening is the agent isn't just looking at one file, it's trying to hold the entire project structure in its context window, which is the short-term memory. So I'm going to show you a little illustration of what it might be looking like on what's happening. So the agent itself can't pull in everything inside its context window, correct? Depending on which large language model you're using. Some large language model has about 128,000 tokens. Some have up to 1 million tokens. Some even have 2 million tokens. Now, a token, if you're not familiar with, is about a syllable or about a word, right? Depending on what you're actually using. So what you can see here by this visual is you have a little agent, little bug working on a little part of the actual application while you're if you zoom out, you actually have that bug, many bugs working on many parts of the application. So what it's doing is it's building a dependency graph that's saying file A needs to talk to file B. So if I make a file, if I make a change in file A, I may break something in file B, so therefore go ahead and double check that I'm not breaking anything. So it builds that dependency graph, and it's asked the large language model, look at this code. I have this amount of code that I actually need to do. Let me go ahead and make that change, and it asks the large language model, what code do I need to update to fit this pattern? Large language models are guessing. They're actually using statistical prediction. And what it does is it actually simulates the error in latent space before actually writing it. So it actually simulates the code, write it, and then comes back and says, you know what, this is not going to work. Let's go ahead and write something else. Eventually, it gets the right thing written, but unfortunately, there's still going to be hallucinations. Hallucinations are when the large language model just guesses the wrong thing out of context. It has nothing, it just made it up. And it will try to use a software library that doesn't exist, or it may use an API that doesn't exist. And when you try to compile the code, you're like, it doesn't work. So this is why you have a human in the loop. So you'll probably see the agent asked that says, I can't pass this CAPTCHA, or I need your credit card, or I need you to put your password in, or I need to accept this button. I'm, this cookie verification. So all those things are needed still with the agent itself. So there's a little bit technical things behind the scene. Hopefully I didn't lose anyone, but if I did, great. Keep coming to the class. You guys would actually learn way more by actual every single day. All right, yeah, Johnny.
I'll take the hallucinations if I also get my programmer uses a dependency graph and has a very large context window. So I programmed for decades, every day. So I know a lot about programming, but I don't ever remember setting up a dependency graph that said this file touches this file and this file and this file. I would change a file, compile it. It would break into files that it has dependency on. I would ask for the line number. I would ask for the error that it did. I would read that whole file, fix that thing, compile it. It would break in the third file that it affected, and I would just keep doing it until everything worked. But I wasn't keeping any of that. Here's my context memory. My context memory is my own memory. That was my dependency graph. I would have to remember what all the files are, and I'd have to sort of know what affects what. But this is the same brain that can memorize a 7-digit phone number, but can't memorize a phone number if you give me the area code and an extension. That's my short-term memory, not 1 million syllables. I can't keep 1 million syllables in my head at one time. So I'll take what it's giving me in the dependency graph in the context window. I'll take the hallucinations because it's giving me so much more, which explains why we're able to knock out entire applications in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yep, definitely. Right. So let's go to takeaways, guys. Remember, if you want to ask questions, we are teaching AI agents here. So we actually are on episode 3. We teach that every single Monday in the month of February. And what we are showing is we went from, from theory now to practical. So we actually have agents building things for us with one tool that we actually chose today, which is Replit. Now, if you actually stick with us in the season finale, we're going to actually show you a much bigger thing that you can actually build, which is probably going to blow your mind because it's actually getting sued right now to get shut down, which is rather interesting. So, AI Johnny, what takeaways do we have for this specific application on agents?
Well, we had talked about some cool applications that people have been carrying around in their head. Here's a few that we have. One is planning a wedding or a conference. Build a custom app with the schedule and a map in 5 minutes. So you have a conference, you never used to have an app. You can have an app now by saying, give me an app.
Exactly.
Amazing. A portfolio, right? Don't use a template. Tell the agent, build a portfolio that looks like a 1980s terminal and stand out. Like, the idea that you can tell it to do something is amazing. The fact that you can tell it how to make it look is even more amazing. An internal tool. Let's say your small business is use a messy spreadsheet. Ask the agent to turn it into a clean dashboard. Like that's it. You can take the messy spreadsheet and now data into an app that you built in 5 seconds by saying, take this messy spreadsheet and turn it into a clean dashboard. The next thing you know, you have a working app that would have cost your business several $1,000s if you had hired an app developer. You don't need an app developer anymore. You just need to know how to use Replit or the myriad of other agents that are coming on the horizon in the next month. What about the builders out there, brother? Anything high tech that you can think of? Any applications?
Yeah, so check this out, yeah, Johnny. So I know a lot of people who are technical on this call want to actually understand how can I actually use it. So being able to prototype is actually rather interesting. So being able to prototype something very fast, right? So you want to be able to build a version zero, an MVP, a minimum viable product. If your startup in an afternoon, you can actually just throw that out there. I see Abdul actually has a comment. Let me actually just bring Abdul's comment in. So it says, just an idea, you should have a future episode talking about the new video gen improvements like the C Dance 2 and that's going viral right now. AI, Abdul, you're absolutely right about that. We actually did a review on TTV Showdown just in the month of January, and believe it or not, C Dance actually failed miserably in terms of what they're actually doing. So yeah, we actually have that episode posted live. I think it may come down in about a month. So Vio is still the king of the TTV generators. So definitely, they have some impressive stuff, but I think it's mostly marketing fluff. If you guys want to see why we actually rated it so badly, just go ahead and check out that TTV Showdown. I think that was on episode 4. So check that out, guys.
It
So
didn't fail. CDAC didn't fail across the board. It didn't win. It didn't beat out VO, but it had some features that were better than the rest. So give credit where credit is due. It didn't win the showdown, but I mean, C-Dance is a player, and that whatever problems we found are going to be fixed in the next version anyway, and new problems are going to be introduced. So
yeah,
I don't think I've used C-Dance for the last time just because we found problems last month. I'll use VO for now, and I'll keep looking to see if somebody else takes the lead.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Johnny. So just to recap, if you guys want to see what we did, we actually did a TTV, that's text to video showdown against C-Dance, Kling, Vio, and Sora. And when we actually went to C-Dance, one of the things that actually showed up on the screen, which is rather funny, it says, "I'm sorry, we can't do this. Please use VO 3 to be able to actually, to be able to do what you want to do." So unfortunately, it's actually rather funny of how it actually did it. All right, so let's go ahead and see some technical things. Oh, I know Shauna actually said, sounds like if you are a programmer, you'll have a huge advantage. You're absolutely right, Shauna. All right, so for the builders out there, so like I said, prototype speed, legacy code refactoring. So, being able to paste in old ugly code into the agent and say, rewrite this in modern React and add comments. It actually does a really good job of that. API integration, so connect Stripe or open APIs just by asking. It handles authentication and boilerplate code, so you don't have to. So all those things that are really boring and monotonous for, those programmers out there who knows exactly what I'm talking about, definitely really good for these type of things. Agentic coding. All right, AI Johnny. We're
Hey, we've got some
all,
questions queued up. Do we have time?
of course. Go ahead.
Nancy wants to know if do I need to pay for a server to run these apps? Good question.
All right, great question. Let's actually go into Replit here, and what we want to show now. This is not a preview episode, but if you go to the pricing section, so Replit actually has pricing for hosting, so you don't have to actually. This is how they get you, right? You build your app, and chances are they don't want you to actually leave. So they have all the source code. You can technically migrate it out, but if you're non-technical, this is almost impossible. So unfortunately, fortunately first, you don't have to worry about servers, or you don't have to worry about AWS and Google Cloud. If those words don't make sense to you, that's okay. You don't have to actually buy those servers, but they will host it for you on their cloud network. Now, what that means is that if you want to migrate or if you need to be able to do something else, you're kind of stuck. So the pluses and minuses there, Nancy. Johnny, what else is out there?
I got a question from Python Pete, wants to know if he can export the code, which you just answered, or if he's locked in. But because his name is Python Pete, I would usually defer to him. And the answer is, of course, you can do it, but you have to have some technical know-how.
Definitely,
Right?
definitely. So unfortunately, I want to, if you're going into be vendor locked in, just understand that you are going to be vendor locked in. All right, you can do the migration export. That's one of the big things that's actually a pain point right now. But eventually, you will be able to get a technical person to help you migrate, or even an agent. So that will be they will be coming. Thanks, yeah, Johnny. Any other questions?
Last question. Will this replace real software human engineers?
You know what, AI Johnny? That one is such a funny statement. My personal belief is that I think all human work is going to actually be replaced. And again, this is my personal opinion. If you guys disagree, please make a comment in the chat and actually share this with somebody saying that AI Junior said that I believe everybody's going to be replaced. Now, with that being said, to be realistic, I don't think it will replace all engineers. I don't think it will replace every single engineers, but it will replace a lot of boring stuff. And as it gets more sophisticated, it's going to start replacing or augmenting the work needed for the actual engineer. So the engineer may be a supervisor, or they may actually understand architecture, so they may understand the theory, but I don't think it was going to wipe everybody out right away. So there's still a little job for some engineers so far. I see
It's
Abdul's
not
actually.
wiping them out. Tomorrow, I have a client collaboration to talk about a full stack development operation that I am putting AI Junior up to actually write the code for. And I will leave it up to you, the audience, to determine whether or not AI Junior is a human or not.
So right. I see Abdul's actually chiming in. There was a time when accountants had to calculate sums and averages. You know, Abdul, that's a really great point. I love that analogy. You know, when an accountant actually had their abacus, or they're actually doing their calculator, they're writing things on the board, that was a time in the past. People don't do that anymore, but accountants have software now like QuickBooks and all those other things to be able to do those things programmatically or automatically for them, or Excel. So great analogy, Abdul. I love that. Yeah, Johnny. Other questions? Anybody else from the chat?
Nope. Question queue is empty. We can do news or we can wrap up. You call it.
Yeah, let's do some news. Yeah, Johnny.
Well, Gemini just pushed a massive update to Gemini 3. It's now crushing benchmarks in reasoning and math. Abdul, if you're a scientist or engineer, check your Gemini advanced account for the Deep Think toggle.
Yeah.
So I guess that'll help with you. I guess that'll help you with your sums and averages, right?
Yep, you're right. Actually, Abdul asked a question in the chat. So he said, quick question, what's the difference between VO and flow? So the large language models, depending on the large language model that you're actually using, they have its name. So first example, the large language model for a TTV, text to video, is actually Sora, or they actually have VO, and these are the large language models named for the text to video. Now, what happens is you can't use the model directly. So what they do is they put these nice interfaces on top of it. When they put these nice interfaces on top of it, they name or brand the application that interacts with the model. So when you're actually interacting with VO, the model, the TTV model, you're using an app called Flow. So just like if you were to go ahead and use a third-party, chat software, you are correct, Abdul. So VO is the LLM, Flow is the actual app. That is correct. So the model is the actual LLM, and on top of it are the apps. So most people think that they're using ChatGPT when they're actually using the app ChatGPT, not the actual model. Behind the scenes, it's selecting, should I go to O1, mini, ChatGPT, whatever the model is, it actually is figuring out which one to go to. So great question, Abdul, for that. AI Johnny, let's go ahead.
The AI Impact Summit in India kicks off today in New Delhi. Massive focus on how AI is reshaping the job market across the globe. We're watching for announcements on that. And Apple just officially partnered with Google to use Gemini for the next generation of Siri. We talked about this last week. The serious upgrades have been waiting and are finally happening. So again, this episode is another mind-blowing episode. I hate to sound like Dallas and say everything's blowing my mind, but today was pretty awesome. I'm going to head home and build an app that tracks how many times my cat naps in a day and I'm going to call it Nap Tracker. The team at Replit, we know you're watching. Our students are hungry to master this. If you want to partner with Airhead Institute to create the ultimate Mastering Replit Agent series, you know where to find us. So let's tune in tomorrow on Tuesday, which means it's another showdown, TTS, which is speech. We are putting 4 voice AIs in a cage match. Can they cry? Can they sing? Can they speak Spanish or French? We'll find out same time, next place. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget, if you want the prompts we used today, including Shauna's app prompt, they're available right now for Airhead Pro members on the app. Smash the like button and we'll see you tomorrow at noon. Junior, back to you.
Catch you guys in the next one. Remember, like and subscribe, guys. Hit that button. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead after-school program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.